Ladies and gentlemen, Rain Hockey returns this week to the Inland Empire alongside Anthony Collazo from the Hockey News. I'm Joe O'Regan. We got a lot to get to this episode. Let's do it. Here we go. It is October 7th, 2024. The Ontario Reign just wrapped up a 5-4 win against the San Diego Gulls. Kind of a feel-good win. I mean, you didn't see any of the top six really get in with the Reign, of course. A lot of guys stepped up in a way, wouldn't you think?
Joe, everybody watching the podcast. Dude, good win for the Ontario Reign today with their B squad, too. You have a bunch of guys that we're going to get into pretty soon here before we recap the game. It was a good feel-good win, as you said, for the Ontario Reign. Man, next time they play hockey, it's going to count. I'm super excited for it.
It's the best time of the year, baby. Hockey season is up. It is ready. Train's rolling, baby. The Reign train's rolling. You already know. And it is time for Ontario Reign hockey. They return to Toyota Arena this Saturday with a 6 p.m. puck drop against the San Jose Barracuda, followed by another game the following day at 3 p.m. and a me+3 day. Before we get on further with this episode of the Make It Rain podcast is brought to you by Gowdy Law. Gowdy Law is here to help. We all know having a game plan is key, but when it comes to your family's future, are you ready? Specializing in estate planning, Gowdy Law ensures your loved ones are protected from losing a load of money in time to probate when you pass away. Just like on the ice, preparation matters. Don't wait till the last minute to make the right play. Visit GowdyLaw.com to start planning for the future. Get estate planning and a free consultation right on their website. It's literally that simple. The price is right there. Gowdy Law, making estate planning easy, understandable, and affordable. Link is in the description. With that, let's get into the I-15 battle between the Reign and the Gulls at Pechanga Arena Saturday night.
All right, Joe. The Reign Rapid recap. The Reign take the 15 South down to take on the San Diego Gulls suck. In the first, Pavel Regenda had a very clear agenda, scoring the first goal of the game, making it 1-0 Gulls. But in the second, Golden Tate Singleton tallies a goal of his own, evening the game at a goal apiece. Everybody sing it with me. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Luke Rowe. He puts the Reign out in front 2-1. Anybody want a steak from Savoy Grill? Carter Savoy. Yes, the newcomer gives the Reign some grilling insurance. It is 3-1 Ontario. Oh, mama, there goes that man again. Golden Tate Singleton, 2 goals and an assist. How about that? He wants a spot on the team. But the goals never say die. Carpenter, Lopina, and McCown I don't know if I'm saying that right. All score in the third to tie the game. But guess what? Francesco Pinelli! He scores to take the lead late in the third. 5-4. Reign win.
You love to fire that up, of course. And you're going to hear that Francesco Pinelli. You're going to hear it a lot this year, believe it. I think he's got 20, 25 goals in the system for him.
Man, he's going to be something special. He already played well toward the end of last season, and I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder after he was healthy scratched for the majority of the playoffs. He's going to be something special this year, man.
Yep. I mean, we're going to expect him a lot in that top 6 group with the Ontario Reign. I'm going to save a little bit of that because this episode, we get into the predictions of the whole Pacific Division. We're going to really break down the Ontario Reign and then just everybody else because no one else matters here on this podcast. But that's the best part of it. We get to control what we want to say, right?
Oh, yeah. Love my own production. Well, let's talk about the game a little bit. You know, they take on the Gulls in their first preseason game. Obviously, super excited. Game was not on television. Game was on the radio, which, just like the Gulls, kind of sucked.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. We had to listen to Jared Schaffer on the radio the whole time. I'm kidding. We actually enjoyed it.
Schaffer and the GOAT. Regenda makes it 1-0. Regenda, was he with the Gulls last year?
Pavel Regenda was a full-time goal last year. I mean, maybe we'll see him on the Ducks time in, time out. If the Ducks are going down with the injury bug just like last year, that's about the only way we're going to expect to see him.
And then you have Tate Singleton. He scores 2. This one was in the first period or in the second period. Man, what if he makes this team and makes the opening night roster? That would be something that I don't think anybody expected to see.
The Golden Tater, huh? 3-point night. What do we say about that? Not expected.
Not expected, man. There's not much to say about it. It's just crazy. Luke Rowe.
Doing his best Sammy Fagemo impression, apparently.
He's also someone who might play a big part if they make a deep playoff run, if they have a really good season. He's going to be part of that. Carter Savoy, legit at the moment that we're recording this on Saturday, he was just signed yesterday, and he's already making an impact.
No time wasted, huh? That's what happens when you throw a guy on waivers thinking he's like, oh, we got him on the NHL roster. Oh, you got to send him to AHL.
And then Francesco Pinelli,
yeah,
man.
we'll take that.
Pinelli scores the game winner. He's, like I said, he's going to be special. He's probably going to be one of their X factors of this year now that, a bunch of the guys are with the Kings now. You got Turcotte with the Kings. Fagemo might not clear waivers.
Akil Thomas.
Akil Thomas is up there.
And now Andre Lee, apparently?
Andre Lee's up there now.
Whoa.
So Pinelli's going to have to step up big time, and we're going to get into that right now.
Absolutely. So with the Ontario Reign line rushes, we're going to go through them, what our predictions are for the 2024-25 season. Obviously, these are going to change once we get to November or December.
At least for opening night.
This is at least what we're expecting for the first few weeks of the year, you'd think, right?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so we're on the same page there. The Ontario Reign, to say the least, there's no shortage of depth, at least, between the defense and the offense this year. They're going to be returning a pretty fair amount of core guys. Like, here's the difference, though. They're losing a lot of the heart and soul that this team had last year, especially when they went on that playoff run. So, I mean, some of the notable guys that they're losing, TJ Tynan, unfortunately, ain't coming back. He's with the Colorado Eagles. We'll get to them sooner than later. Akil Thomas, Brant Clark, Alex Turcotte, Samuel Fagemo could be gone too. So, I mean, it's a new look Ontario Reign. However, there's no shortage of skill on this team.
Yeah, so for the first line, we have the newcomer Carter Savoy coming from the Bakersfield Condors. We have him playing at the left wing 1 position. Then we have Francesco Pinelli playing center 1. Although that, knowing Marco Sturm, I have a feeling he's going to maybe put Godin or Stunica up there.
Yeah.
And then Charles Udon at the right wing 1.
That's about the only guarantee you get in line 1. We're expecting Charles Udon to play that first line spot this year.
Yeah, and I think that first line, if you put that out opening night against San Jose, I think that's a very solid line 1. I mean, that is just playmakers galore right there. You have Udon, who has like a Samuel Fagemo type of one-timer from the right side, and he's got a powerful shot. Pinelli, who he skates very freely east to west. He can get into the zone. He would be your guy who would take the puck and would just motor into the zone. And then Carter Savoy, I mean, there's not enough to say about this guy. He is going to be someone to look forward. I look forward to watching next year.
Absolutely. And I mean, with Carter Savoy, only time's going to find out whether he fits into Marco Sturm's system or not. We're going to see that as time goes on. Give the Reign maybe 10 games and we'll find that answer. So, I mean, the X factor you would think is Francesco Pinelli, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think Pinelli, especially last year, the last half of his season, started off, he was shaky. He was really bad, for lack of better terms, in the first half of the season. I think going from the OHL to the AHL, it's a big jump, man. I mean, professional hockey is no joke, and you can tell that he was definitely feeling the pressure a little bit. But as time went on, as Sturm trusted him more, he talked about this a little bit in his post-game interviews, how when Sturm started to trust him more, he was just playing better hockey overall.
I mean, his plus-minus was in the positives in the second half of the year. I mean, it also helps when your team goes 28-0 in the second half of the year. But if Francesco Pinelli continues to play that way, Kings fourth line forward? Maybe this year?
I think he's going to be down here for at least a little bit. I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, the Reign has some incredible depth. We'll see. I think he definitely has the potential to be up with the Kings at some point, and that's like worst case scenario for the Kings. I mean, I'm talking about if like multiple guys go down and then Pinelli comes up, the way Akil Thomas came up last year.
Absolutely.
But I definitely think it's possible.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole up-down system for that first line. I'm expecting Pinelli to maybe, this is assuming like the whole Kings roster goes down with an injury bug or something. I'm expecting Pinelli to maybe get NHL minutes this year.
Yeah.
If he can definitely progress and if he can play like he was in that second half in 2023-24, I mean, it's only a matter of time at that point.
Yeah, for
Maybe it's a full year for him. Maybe it's like a Brant Clark situation where you're playing basically the full year, except maybe 3 or 4 games, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
We're expecting a lot of Francesco Pinelli this year. Let's just say he's got some big shoes to fill, especially with TJ Tynan out now. Continuing down the line, and also Pinelli's going to have to shoot the puck more. That's the one X factor, because 3 playmakers doesn't do very much.
Yeah,
you got to have a guy that's willing to put the puck in the mesh.
And that's one of his main issues from last year. You know, he was as a center, you got to get deep in there, deep in the ozone, and he wasn't a guy who was willing to really take many hits or anything like that. So I think, and when he was playing with the Kings in their preseason games, he had some more flair in him. I mean, he was showing some emotion. He was getting into scrums that I didn't see from him last year. So you can tell that he's trying to be a little more of a physicality type of guy this year with the Reign.
Yeah, and it's something we didn't see at all last year in a way.
Yeah, we didn't see any of that. So second line, we have Jeff Malott at the left wing 2. We have Glenn Godden, former goals at the center. And then we have Chromiak, right wing 2. He was here last year. Chromiak, another healthy scratch with Pinelli for the majority of the postseason. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Glenn Godden. That's a huge acquisition right there.
Absolutely. And I mean, AHL acquisitions, like, to the NHL fans, like, okay, cool. Like, cool. We got him, sure. Like, you guys don't realize how big of an acquisition this could be for a team like the Kings as well. We got young guys on this team this year. Glenn Godden's going to probably be that leader that they're going to look up to. And don't be surprised if he gets named the captain within the next 2 years, honestly.
Yeah, Glenn Godden, assistant captain with the goals last year. I mean, not only is he really good on the ice, he stays healthy. He stays healthy. Last season, 70 games played, 22 goals, 33 assists. He had a negative 11 plus minus.
Well, let's also remember he was playing for a goals team that was second to last in the standings. But, or they might have been last. No, they were second to last.
But the 22 goals, 33 assists, I think if he played with a better team like the Reign, he played with a winning team, a competitive team, a team that honestly, looking at this roster on paper before the season even begins, I think can have a legitimate chance at going into playoffs, making another deep run the way they did last year. So Glenn Godden, huge acquisition for this team. I think he's going to be a dog.
Absolutely, in every way possible. Going back to Martin Chromiak, that's the shooter of this line.
Oh yeah,
Martin Chromiak, rocket of a shot. Like, he's just got to find space to shoot the puck, because the thing is, the spacing last year was a little bit questionable. So far in the preseason, from what we've seen, it looks a lot better. So hopefully that was something he was working over the summer. If not, things just come naturally at times. Jeff Malott, giving the guys protection, hopefully, on that second line.
Jeff Malott on the Manitoba Moose last season. Another guy who is going, like you said, give protection on that line. Again, Glenn Godden, I think the negative 11 plus minus is not much to worry about when he plays with guys like Chromiak and Jeff Malott. Malott, 70 games played last year, 22 goals, 30 assists, almost similar to
Glenn
Godden. And he has a +3 plus minus.
The only thing concerning that we're looking at this is 66 penalty minutes.
Yeah, I am looking at that.
Now, is that because he's fighting a lot? We don't know. We didn't really look into it that far. But 5 power play goals is pretty nice to see out of him, considering that it looks like a guy that doesn't shoot the puck that often.
Look for this guy to potentially be on the power play too. This team is deep, man. I mean, there's not much to say about Malott. There's not much that we really know about him. So we're going to go to the third line. Tyler Madden, left wing 3. Jacob Studnicka at the centerman. And Atu Yamson, someone who really made a lot of noise in Kings training camp this year.
Turning some heads, if that's an understatement.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think for a 7th round pick, this might be the most exciting 7th round pick that the Kings have had in a long, long time. I believe that Yamson, over time, I think he's going to go up from this third line. I think Yamson can really be a potential game changer for the Reign. This team is deep. Like I said, this is going to be a fun year for the Reign.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, is it Atu Yamson?
Atu Yamson, yeah.
Atu Yamson. Finish. I think. We're going to go with it. So, obviously, you got a lot to expect out of him, but I want to turn my head to Tyler Madden and Jake Studnicka. Jake Studnicka last year with Abbotsford, honestly didn't look that bad. We're going to get to his stats in a moment. Tyler Madden last year just casually blew up in the playoffs with like 5 goals in 5 games, including one of Collazo's moments. Actually, never mind.
My second overall pick last episode.
Yeah. I was about to say it's a YouTube short. It's not. So, I mean, Tyler Madden was just unreal in the playoffs. Can he continue it into this year is the new question.
Yeah, Madden was someone last year who struggled a little bit in the regular season, especially down the stretch. He was almost like a ghost out there on the ice. You know, that's not something you want. But in the playoffs, man, he came up big, and that's someone who Tyler Madden can be. And he's another guy where I believe Madden can definitely move up in his lineup. But the Reign have so much talent this year, man. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. Not very much to talk about on this third line, so we're going to go right ahead and move to that fourth line. The beefy line. We
got the energy line, the big boy line, as Marcus Sturm called, I believe it was Lee Hellenius Doty last season. Caleb Lawrence. Me and my good colleague Kyle Garcia like to compare this guy to the Hayden Hodgson of last year, taking just stupid penalties, getting into fights.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully he's not that guy. Samuel Hellenius running the centerman, and then Jacob Doty, a potential captain for the Reign. That fourth line, that's a big fourth line right there.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's the fourth line that's going to keep every other team in check. That is the line where you do not want to be on the ice, especially if you're a skilled player. I mean, you could just make the argument like guys like Scott Stevens, who's in the National Hockey League Hall of Fame. Like, there are guys like Wayne Gretzky in that. Like, if he got on the ice, tell me to get off.
Yeah.
Like, you want no business of these guys on the ice. All 3 of these guys are very physical. Hellenius and Doty both proved that they are very willing to stand for their teammates last year. Proven with my pick for Doty with the Onyebuchi fight. Samuel Hellenius ended up fighting a couple times last year, standing up for his guys. And then Caleb Lawrence is only a matter of time till we see him getting in a fight at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Lawrence 6'7", Samuel Hellenius 6'6", Jacob Doty 6'3". When Jacob Doty is the smallest guy on that line, I don't think you want to mess with that line, man. I mean, they're gonna bring the energy. They're gonna give energy to all the other guys, and they're gonna lay some big hits during the season, man.
Yeah, hopefully that gives the skilled players a little bit more protection, or as like Pat Verbeek tries to say, make teams uncomfortable on the ice, like because that's what the Anaheim Ducks do. We're gonna compare them to the Ontario Reign at this point in time, especially with that fourth line.
And Lawrence in the OHL last year, it says he played for 2 teams, the Ottawa 67s and the London Knights. So I'm going to combine these stats. 20 goals last year between the 2 teams, and then 17 assists for Caleb Lawrence. So he's someone who can actually playmake a little bit. He has 48 penalty minutes.
What was his time on ice?
48 penalty minutes in 28 games played
with
the London Knights. And then he has 41 with the Ottawa 67s.
Woo! Fire me up.
That's 89 penalty minutes last year.
In how many games?
Season.
How many games for the people at home?
58 games.
Oh, boy.
It's a lot of penalty minutes, man. He's a big guy. He has a 10 plus minus, though.
To say the least, that man is not winning a Stan Mikita award anytime soon.
Gosh.
AKA the Lady Bing.
I mean, to put that into perspective, Samuel Hellenius, who was someone who was one of the Reign's bigger enforcers last year, 69 games played, 53 penalty minutes.
Yeah.
And he was in the box a lot, it seemed like.
I mean, he was more so in the box because he just loved to fight people.
89 and 58 games, crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's one thing that Caleb Lawrence is going to need to work on. He's got to probably get the discipline part figured out. Only a matter of time. That's probably the least of our worries with that guy.
And then Jacob Doty kind of had a career year last year. 7 goals, 3 assists. Played well, man. I mean, that's not... He has a lot of years with the Reign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seasons with the Reign. This is going to be his 6th. And he had more goals last season than he did in those 4 other seasons with the Reign. So he had a career year. He played really well last season. And his teammates love him, man. Doty is someone who, Pinelli gets has a big hit. He goes down. He's hurting. Doty's coming right off that bench. He's going straight at you, man.
Choo choo, get off the tracks.
And that's why
Unless
he
you
might be
hit
a
Pinelli.
captain this year. That's why he might be a captain this year.
I mean, that's
That's
crazy
my
thought.
pick for captain.
I mean, that's easily my pick for captain too. It's gonna be him or Charles Hudon. Like we can just assume that now.
I think Hickett's has a chance. He's been around.
Okay.
He's been around.
Okay. I'm sticking with Doty or Hudon, but you can make that claim. All right, let's move to the defensive pairings for the Ontario Reign. Realistically, with 7 or 8 defensemen to choose from, we went with our top 6. So,
Man, the Reign, like,
there's no
about,
shortage of depth this
talking
year.
about depth again, man. I mean, they just signed Krebs and Burge to some contracts, and I would love to put them into these pairings because, especially Burge, I think I'm really high on Burge and the player he can become. But man, I just don't know what Sturm. I was hoping that on Saturday's game, in their preseason game, I was hoping Sturm put out a lineup that we might be able to be like, okay, this might be the opening night lineup, so that when we record this, we have a little bit of an idea. Man, we were prepping for this podcast. We had no idea where we were putting these guys. We were like, man, who is Sturm going to put on the ice opening night?
Yeah. I mean, we can pretty much agree that the first line was a consensus decision in our opinion.
I think the first line should be what it is: Savoy, Pinelli, Hudon. I think that line can be easily like just a power line, almost like how Trocheck, Panarin, Lafreniere is for the New York Rangers.
This guy's a Rangers fan, by the way.
Like, I think that line could be like that at the AHL level.
Could you not tell by his New York Yankees jersey?
Yankees won Game 1, 6-5 against Kansas City.
That's why he's on top of the moon right now, too.
Love to see it.
Yeah,
oh, I'm so
course.
happy. What a game.
I have to imagine so. Yeah, Alex Verdugo finally did something. Congratulations.
2 hits, man.
Miracles do happen. So, back to the podcast here. The defensive pairing for the Ontario Reign, let's be real, the first line defensive pairing we were pretty sure on. Jacob Moverari and Joe Hicketts. Both guys that performed at an unbelievable clip last year. Joe Hicketts, unfortunately, just went down with an injury early in the year.
Yeah, Moverari is probably one of my favorite players on the Reign. He is hilarious. If you haven't watched his post-game interview after his overtime winner against Coachella Valley last February, you should go watch it. It's some interview. And Hicketts, I mean, you can say that maybe his game was elevated a little bit by Brent Clark's playmaking abilities last year, which made him super dangerous. But Hicketts, man, he's that guy. He has like some sort of like ice in his veins. His shorthanded goal in the first round last year to open the scoring in Game 1, huge.
Oh my goodness. That was the shorthand goal you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh, that fired me up. Just thinking about it, I got goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
two on one shorthanded, a perfect dish. Hicketts, who you don't really see defensemen doing this, top cheddar.
Yeah, Hicketts is he's got a nice shot as a defenseman for sure. Second defensive pairing, we have Luke Rowe and Dvorak. I don't know much about Dvorak. I know he's a top prospect for the Kings. I know. I don't want to say I'm not too sure who he is because I know who he is. I just don't know how he plays. I don't know if you know how he plays.
I mean, I'm going to guess by 6'5", he's probably more of a stay-at-home defenseman. Hopefully he got a big shot on him as well. This is just predictions. We haven't seen very much of these guys yet. The only thing I've seen of Dvorak was the Empire Classic against the Ducks. Very gritty guy, as we've seen. So this line's a little bit more on the side of inexperienced, I guess, if you want to say it that way. It's a younger line. So we'll see how this line goes.
Oh my gosh. Jacob Dvorak is 19.
Yeah.
He was born on May 25th, 2005.
Yeah. So
6 days before me, and he's playing in the AHL, and I'm doing a podcast talking about him.
Bang!
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. 6'4", 183 pounds. That's a big guy right there. And he's 19. Man,
Yeah.
I wish I had that type of genes.
Yep.
If I did, I wouldn't be doing this. But
here we are.
you can never complain. This is fun. I like doing this.
Yep.
I enjoy this.
Absolutely.
And then Luke Rowe scored a goal in Saturday's game. Luke Rowe is someone I'm personally very high on. I think if he didn't get injured last year, Nobody even announced his injury. I just saw him one day in the tunnel walking with this like skeleton cast on.
Yeah.
And I was like,
What happened?
what happened to him? Yeah, man.
What happened?
What happened?
Yeah. He looks great right now, at least. That's a certainty. Picking up a goal and an assist, realistically with the intention to score, except Pinelli just had to little tip in to give the Reign the lead, then the Reign won, of course. So I'm high on Luke Rowe. I'm high on the offensive input he could potentially put this year as well.
100%. And then the last defensive pairing.
This was one that we were arguing about.
There's so much depth, but we put Jack Millar and Angus Booth at the right D. Angus Booth is going to play, I believe. I think they got him for the sake of him playing. I hope he plays. There's a lot of good puns out there for Angus Booth. Yeah, I'm not too sure how both of these guys play, man. I mean, the AHL doesn't give us anything, dude. So we have to kind of go based off what we hear, what we see. And we haven't really seen these guys. So,
yeah.
You know.
So, I mean, what do we expect of this line, though, in a way?
Man, I don't know. They need to play just good blue line defense, man. They just got to be there. I don't know if they're going to go a lot with the 1-3-1 anymore. I heard that they're kind of changing their philosophies on that as far as the organization goes from top to bottom.
Hopefully the 1-2-2 gets in there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I'm not too sure. We're not even too sure if they're going to be playing opening night. So,
yeah, because we're also leaving guys off like Drew Krebs and Riley Walsh in this.
Yeah, exactly.
Who could very easily be an opening night starter.
Yeah, they have depth. And I tell you what, the Swamp Rabbits are going to be good again this year as well.
Oh, yes, they are. And with that, let's get to the goaltenders. Surprise! Eric Portillo.
Eric Portillo, obviously, his main issue is his rebound control. I think everyone knows that. He's a big goalie, man. He covers up the entire goal.
6'6".
But with that, it comes with bad rebound control. I heard Schaff a lot today on the radio say, save Portillo, big rebound, save Portillo, rebound, a second chance try. He needs to figure that out, man, because he's not going to succeed at the NHL level if he doesn't keen that in a way.
Yeah. He'll turn into James Reimer.
I mean, last year he played really well, and the goalie coach for the Reign, forgot his name, Adam Brown.
Yep.
He told a colleague, Kyle Garcia, he told him he's got to work on positioning, and with positioning comes with rebound control and stuff, and just overall game IQ. So, that's something he's got to work on.
Absolutely, it is something to work on with him. Backup goalie for the Ontario Reign. Do we go Dryden McKay?
You got Dryden McKay. You got Jacob Ingham. I mean, we don't even know the situation with Phoenix Copley. So,
yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens, man.
It's only a matter of time till we find out. Dryden McKay last year only had, never mind, not one game, 2 games in there, 1-0-1 with the Toronto Marlies with a goals against average of .338 and a save percentage of .885. Not very much. That tells us a lot there. So we're going to have to wait and see what appears of him this year. So
I think Jacob Ingham being the backup for the Reign will be essential since Jacob Ingham is 6'5", 205. Portillo is 6'6", 210. Very similar sizes. And I think when you have 2 guys who are similar sizes, you guys are working on the same things. You're working on Portillo obviously has bad rebound control, so I can imagine Ingham maybe has some of the same issues. Yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see the decisions that the Kings and the Reign and Marco Star makes.
All right, well, with that, should we get to the rest of the Pacific Division?
I think we should.
So with that, let's get into the standing predictions this year. And of course, we got to look at the rest of the teams. The NHL Pacific Division really shook up this past offseason. A lot of new faces and a lot of new places. And some friends are in low places. I just had to get a Garth Brooks reference in there. I'm sorry.
Of course.
So let's start. We're going to go alphabetical order. So we're going to start with the Abbotsford Canucks, one of the 2 teams up north alongside the Calgary Wranglers. We're going to start with the Abbotsford Canucks. Linus Karlsson, he's back. Someone that really... He was there the whole time last year. He was a first or a second liner. I'm expecting a few things out of him. Rangers legend, Sammy Blais.
Love Sammy Blais for the sheer fact that, man, the Rangers traded for him, and the Blues got Pavel Buchnevich. I mean, if we had Pavel Buchnevich last year playing on that first line with Mika and Kreider, we win the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has gone there. Yep, salty Rangers fan. We got it. You haven't won since 94. That's fine. Settle down. Yep. Get it there.
2024 World Series champions.
Some other players out of that matter. Chase Wouters, Jonathan LeCarry-Mackey, first-round draft pick of the Canucks a few years ago. I'm expecting a few high things of him. Hopefully he puts up 40, 50 points this year, and I'm hoping he doesn't Sheldon Dries us again. Sheldon Dries absolutely killed us last year. How many points did that man have in 8 games?
Ooh, I can look that up for you. Keep talking about the Abbotsford Canucks. I'll look that up for you right now.
I will. So defensively, we've got Christian Wolanin. He's returning as a defenseman. We're just waiting on him to clear waivers at this point, and then we'll be sure that he joins. The other one, Elias Pettersson.
Is he back? Or is he up?
Elias Pettersson. No, not the center. The defenseman Elias Pettersson, he was with Pittsburgh last year. He's with the Abbotsford Canucks this year. Did not make the cut for the NHL roster. However, Archie Bains making the cut for that Vancouver Canucks roster. So thank God we don't have to see him anymore either.
I have Dries' stats. This was in the regular season. I'm not sure about the playoff series that they had. But in the regular season, 6 games, 9 points, 5 goals, 4 assists against the Reign. His career before that playoff series, because I think he scored a couple times, did he not?
He might have.
Of course he did. His career stats, 16 goals, 11 assists, 27 points. Sheldon Dries, man, he sees that black and white and now silver, I believe.
Yeah, they got the silver in there this year.
Silver on the jerseys. Maybe the silver like blinds him or something so that he can't he's looking down, he looks up with the puck.
It's like, oh.
And then he's like, oh, silver.
Oh, Henderson. Henderson with the chrome buckies, baby.
Yeah,
I hope they return those this year. Those things were sick last year.
Those are nice jerseys. Those are nice jerseys.
You gotta love the sweaters. Who do you think has the best sweaters? I'm going off on a tangent here. Who has the best sweaters in the AHL? Do not say the Hartford Wolfpack, I swear. Or the Ontario Reign.
Man, I don't know, man. I think the Firebirds Navy Blues, those are kind of tough.
They're not bad.
I like the Firebirds Navy Blue jerseys. I think they're tight.
Give me the Grand Rapids Griffins. The jerseys and the logo is sick.
The Grand Rapids Griffins?
Yes. Specifically the red jersey. That they got the best logo in this league easily. With that, that's besides the point. Let's get to the Bakersfield Condors as he's looking up the Griffins jersey right now.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay.
I don't know.
Bakersfield Condors. They're returning pretty close to the same roster. The defensive situation, or not the defensive, the goaltending situation is kind of a mess right now. Not even worth pointing out. Matt Savoy, 5th overall pick a couple years ago, got optioned down to the AHL level, so he will be starting the year down in Bakersfield. And then this is the beginning of the Firebirds breakdown. Connor Carrick.
Yep.
Defenseman. He is over in Bakersfield this year.
Big loss for the Firebirds. Huge acquisition for the Condors.
And it's something that you better get used to because there are a lot of Firebirds that have departed from the roster last year. As I say that, let's get into the Coachella Valley Firebirds roster. I mean, they are not returning with Dan. Is it Bilsma?
Back to the Condors real quick. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Tyler Inamoto.
I missed him.
Tyler Inamoto is on the... he doesn't have an Oilers logo next to him because he's not on the NHL roster. Mm-hmm. But it shows that he's on the AHL roster for the Condors. Inamoto. Welcome.
Yay, Reign legend. He'll be back. He'll be back at Toyota Arena eventually. Okay, now moving on to the Coachella Valley Firebirds. So obviously this roster is going to be a lot different. There's a different look. No Connor Carrick. There's going to be a few other players we'll name here that are like, oh yeah, this guy was a Firebird last year. This guy was a X factor for the Firebirds last year. He's not there anymore. So Tucker Robertson, Honey Newman. Got it. Right?
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
Is it? And then Luke Henman, and then first round draft pick for Seattle a couple of years ago. Jagger Furcus is also in there as well. Defensively, Ty Nelson, it looks like, is going to be holding that down. I mean, they have lost a lot of guys from the past 2 years.
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster, and it's almost hard to find guys who I remember being like, ooh, that's scary.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I mean, Max McCormick.
Max McCormick is back. He's their captain. He's not leaving.
Max McCormick, Cam Morrison. Man.
Ian McKinnon.
They really, really.
They tore the house down.
Yeah, man, they got depleted. I mean, when you lose back-to-back Calder Cup finals, you got to tear it down, right?
You would think.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm joking. Yeah, no. The Hershey Bears were just better. Sorry.
Odavinen.
I like speaking facts here. It might hurt. Truth hurts. Deal with it. Yeah. Thank God Hendrix Lapierre is not with the Bears this year. He should be a Capital. Should be. We won't know that based on facts, though.
Yeah.
So, moving on from the Firebirds, obviously, okay. Nike Kokko, it's Kokko or Kako, something like that. Victor Ostman. Looks like it's going to be the goaltending this year. Thank God Chris Drieger is gone. Goodbye. He's with the Florida Panthers now.
That was a big reason why the Reign fell apart in 3 games. Drieger, man,
Dog.
solid goalie. He came into that series too. He was not very good coming into that series, and Portillo came into that series red hot. And at the end of the day, I guess when you have experience like Drieger does, and Portillo was new, he was a rookie, experience always wins, especially in any type of hockey playoffs.
Absolutely. Moving on here to the Calgary Wranglers. Reign legend Marty Firk. We got to him last week talking about the Reign goal record. He is a Calgary Wrangler this year.
That's wild.
That fired me up looking at that this afternoon. So, Marty Firk, from the Colorado Eagles last year, Dryden Hunt is now on that team as well.
Ranger legend.
Again, here we flip and go. I mean, Brett Sutter retired this past year, maybe a year ago. I don't remember exactly. And then expecting Dustin Wolf to take the load of management for the Calgary Flames this year?
I don't see him on the roster.
Yeah, well, not the Wranglers, the Flames.
I see what you're saying.
I don't think we're going to see Dustin Wolf this year. Yay!
That's, man.
Yippee! I remember, the only thing I'll remember the most was during that 2022-23 season, I ended up going to games just because, for the sake of it. Go to this one game. Speaking of Rangers legends, Elias Anderson opened up the goal scoring, by the way. You don't need to give me an eye for that. Dustin Wolf was like 28-5 with a 2-3 goals against. And I'm just looking here watching this like, dang, okay. So someone that was too good for the AHL is finally getting the NHL bump. Expect Dustin Wolf to probably either be the backup or take a good load of management for the Calgary Flames this year. They're definitely a rebuilding team, so I'm happy to see the Ducks better than them for once. So moving on to the Colorado Eagles, let's address the elephant in the room, TJ Tynan.
Yeah, man, sad to see him go. Always good to the media. Captain for the Reign, assist merchant. He's
Two-time MVP.
He's a big loss, man. He's a big loss. I don't know how you can replace that.
Hopefully guys like Pinelli step up into that role this year. I mean, TJ Tynan's back. Oscar Allison, I think that's how it's pronounced, is there as well. For the Colorado Eagles, it looks like Justus Ananen might be their backup this year.
Yeah. Trent
Miner leading the charge, it looks like, down in Colorado. We'll see how that folds as time goes on. So
I think the Eagles definitely have a chip on their shoulder. They were a team who had a really good season up until the very end, and they kind of faltered. And I remember them being top 3 in the division for a majority part of last season in the standings, and they just kind of trickled down slowly but surely and got bounced. So I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think TJ Tynan, wow, TJ Tynan and his leadership is going to really help this team. And I expect them to be one of the better teams in the Pacific Division this year.
I mean, there was an interview I watched earlier today of TJ Tynan addressing the Colorado media.
Hurts.
It hurts so bad.
Hurts, man.
It hurts
How
so bad.
long was Tynan with the
3
Reign?
years? 3 years? 4 years? Something down that line?
3 years.
3 years. Let's just remember this. He won 2 MVPs in 3 years with the Ontario Reign.
He was with the Eagles before he came to the Reign.
Yes, he was. That is true. So he's going right back to his old stomping grounds in Loveland. And I mean, by what we've heard, along with a few other people, Loveland is a really hard place to play in, apparently.
Is it really?
Yeah. Elevation plays a bit into that, but I mean...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Colorado Eagles have always had a good home record, and I'm not expecting that to falter at all this year in a way.
That's an issue that the Utah team might have this year in the NHL.
Mm-hmm. Well, they might be one of the best home teams just because of that.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
I can see that.
I can definitely see it as well. Clayton Keller being the new captain as well.
There you go.
Got to address that as well. Moving on to the Las Vegas Golden Knights AHL team, the Henderson Silver Knights. They didn't finish silver last year. They finished 8th place. But
yeah,
they're still returning guys. Grigory Denisenko is probably the main guy that's coming back. Carl Lindblom, I'm guessing, is probably going to be their goalie by what we've seen in the AHL rosters. Maybe there's a change coming to that. We'll see what happens there. If he has a good year and Aiden Hill doesn't come back next year for Vegas, expect him to move up. Expect all sorts of moves to happen there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here.
Not very much to say about those at the Lee Family Forum. Moving on to the San Jose Barracuda, who picked up 2 Firebird X Factors from their Calder Cup run last 2 years in Andrew Podorowski and Jimmy Schultz.
Yeah, I expect the Barracuda to not get last place this year. I actually expect the Barracuda to have some of the best games with the Reign this year. I mean, that opening series, a lot of fans might look at the Barracuda. Oh, man, they weren't that good last year. You know, last time we saw the Barracuda, I believe it was 8-2.
Samuel Fagimo hat trick, baby.
Yeah, man, just a boring game on a Tuesday night. You know, pretty much an empty arena. The Barracuda, they're going to be good this year, man. They got a good goalie.
Thank God.
And Askarov.
Yeah. Yaroslav Askarov got sent down. So
yeah, man.
It looks like they're rolling with Vitek Vanacek as their backup goalie, which I was not expecting whatsoever.
Romanov.
And Grigory Romanov, too.
He's good.
Holy.
He's good.
Grigory Romanov and Magnus Krona. I don't know what Magnus Krona's up to.
Aaron Dell back with the Barracuda after his short stint with the Reign.
Yeah, there's another team that has no shortage of goalie depth. I mean, expect the San Jose Barracuda to compete this year.
Yeah.
I'm 100% expecting them to make the playoffs.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, that's, of course, if the rosters fall apart and guys start going everywhere. So
I think they're a top 3 team in the Pacific.
I will make that argument any day. Moving on to the San Diego Gulls.
Goals suck. Goals suck.
Goals suck. Okay, anyways, besides that, the Gulls are actually going to probably be rolling in a better team this year compared to last year.
For sure.
Last year, they were second to last in the Pacific Division. This year, they're going to have a couple more prospects that the Anaheim Ducks drafted in the past few years. 5th-round draft pick, Robin I don't know if it's Dionisio or Dionicio. I've heard very many different pronunciations. I'm expecting him to be a defensive X factor for them this year.
I'm really upset that Seneke isn't going to be with the Ducks this year and is going back to the OHL. I was looking forward to seeing him play with the Gulls.
I mean, regardless, I don't think Beckett Seneca would have been able to play in the AHL. I think that's how this contract goes right now.
Man,
unfortunately,
hockey is so confusing sometimes, man.
The contract system is not normal here. There's a lot of moving parts to it that, to the casual fan, not very many people are going to understand.
Yeah.
So, the San Diego Gulls are returning pretty close to their main core. Andrew Agozzino, we'll talk about him in a moment. He's not coming back. He's gone from the San Diego Gulls. Still returning guys like Nikita Nestorenko, Pavel Regenda. Travis Howe is going to be probably their enforcer this year. However, like the Reign, they are losing their captain in Chase DeLeo. So, who is the next captain for the Gulls in a way?
Man, I don't know.
Do you go Nikita Nestorenko? I think that's a bold statement, but I think it probably is the right move. There's a lot that they need to work on. Drew Hellison, Noah Warren, Robin Dianicho, Tyson Hines. There's a lot of people or a lot of prospects that the Ducks have that are going to be with them this year. So expect the Gulls to be no slouch. They're going to be a younger team, but I'm 100% expecting them to have a playoff berth this year.
Ducks fan.
Yep. Don't argue with me. We definitely have one of the best prospect pools in the NHL. So whether you like it or not. And finally, last but certainly not least, I don't think they're going to be this good, very good this year, the Tucson Roadrunners, who are getting Reign legend Kevin Connaughton.
Hey, Connaughton, I don't think we mentioned him earlier. That's a big loss for the Reign. He played well, especially in the playoffs. He played extraordinarily well with Steven Santini, who's also gone this year. I don't think we mentioned Santini.
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Connaughton with Utah, Tucson Roadrunners. That's so weird, man.
I don't think Tucson's going to be having an AHL team for much longer. Kind of hope they do. But it looks like that team's heading up to like Boise or something. Who knows? Maybe they stay in Salt Lake City.
I tell you what, they do have a lot of returning guys this year that I recognize. Maybe they won't be so bad. They got Ryan McGregor coming back, Austin Poganski,
Ben McCartney,
Aku Ratu.
Ben McCartney's on there.
Ben McCartney. Kevin Connaughton, obviously. Where's Maverick? Oh, he's right there, Beralta. All right. We'll see what happens. This team is a wild card.
Maverick Lamoureux might be down there as well. First round draft pick for then the Arizona Coyotes a couple years ago.
Right.
There's a lot that can go down there. And then we're expecting Matty V to be in the net. If not him, Anson Thornton, I guess.
Yep.
Thornton was actually not that bad for them last year as well. So with that, let's go down the line and which teams do we think are making the playoffs? For the people here that don't know, the Pacific Division has 10 teams, which is the most in the AHL for a division. So the Pacific Division is very blessed, in my opinion, to get 7 postseason spots. I think that's really generous.
I tell you what, I'll tell you the 3
that are guarantees.
Who I don't think is going to make it.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I think the Wranglers, without Dustin Wolf, I don't think they're a good team.
Yep.
I don't think Henderson has enough.
Yep. I also have them marked off here.
And I'm going to go with, hot take. We're going Firebirds.
All right.
We're going Firebirds.
He said it.
You lose both your coaches. Shane Wright's going to be with the Kraken this year. You lose your captain.
They're not losing their captain. Max McCormick is still there.
No. I was talking about this. My bad. McCormick is still there. Man, I don't know. You lose 2 of your coaches. You lose a lot of your guys. They don't look like the same team on paper anymore.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
However, I'm going to take my headset off for this real quick. I tip my hat to all Firebirds fans, even though because that's like all you guys mainly have all year, it feels like. So that's we brought this up in the last episode. It's the only pro sports franchise that they have. So, I mean, with that, who do you think has the Pacific Division this year? Fine, I'll say it. If there's any year the Ontario Reign win, it's this year.
Yeah, we'll go with the Reign. Why not? Might be a little biased.
Of course.
Might be a little biased.
Of course.
But we're going with the Reign. I think they're deep, man. I think the Reign are going to be really good this year.
Yeah. It's going to come down to the nitty gritty and what happens once we get into December and January and stuff. We'll start to see more and more as the AHL Pacific unfolds. For the first time, and they didn't do it last year for some awkward reason, the Reign are playing people outside the Pacific Division. It's about time.
Oh, yeah, we got
the Iowa Wild and the Texas Stars. Thank God.
Must see at the arena.
Yep. I mean, you're not going to see it very often because sooner than later, they're going to start rotating teams in and out.
Yep.
Like this year, you've got the Wild and the Stars. Next year, you might have the Thunderbirds and the Milwaukee Admirals.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you're getting. You're getting a mixed bag almost. This is not an NHL franchise where you just play everybody. ... It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. All right. We got anything else?
I think we're good.
Think that'll be it.
Yep. It is Ontario Reign's time, and I think they need to win. They really need to, and I think this year's the year they do it. With that being said, thank you very much for joining us for episode 2 of the Make It Rain podcast one more time. He's Anthony Collazo from the Hockey News. I'm Joe O'Regan. We will see you next Monday.
God bless you guys.
After we get those other games in as well.